Hi, folks. Welcome back to another episode of WorkYogi Diaries. This is your host, Santosh Shiva. Every week, I bring you conversations with people who are masters of their craft or are on a journey to be masters. They see their work as a form of self expression, not just to pay bills or to get by. I hope through these conversations, we get to hear new ideas, new ways of thinking and acting, new strategies, and perhaps inspire us to take our game to the next level. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing to it. Hit like if you like this video, and please leave your comments and let us know if you took something away. In the house today is someone who's on a journey of mastery in his second career. The first took care of his survival, and he thrived in it. The second is driven by his love and passion for acting. It takes courage and immense patience to stay in the game in 1 second innings. Beginner's mindset is easier said than done. Managing one's pride takes immense maturity and focus, and of course, passion for the art. We dwell into the origins of his love for acting and cinema, the courage to commit to a journey, the pitfalls of working in a less organized industry, and where he is headed next. Let's welcome Shyam Gopal. Hey Shyam, welcome to Work Yogi Diaries.
Hey, Santosh, happy to see you, man.
Happy to see you. We've known each other for decades, and you're a fascinating guy. You spent your first half of your life in doing the stuff, in corporate world, and now you're pursuing a passion and having a second innings, which is so fascinating, very inspiring. So we want to dig into that. So before we jump in, I'll let you kind of do a personal introduction, and then we'll get started.
All right. Hey, guys, my name is Shyam Gopal, a very good old friend of Santosh, almost 3 decades now. I stay in Gurgaon in near Delhi in India, and I'm settled down here. But my work demands that I travel a lot to Mumbai, which is what I do for my second innings, which is what we're talking about. And my wife is academician. She teaches across. She's from IIT Kanpur and pretty prominent in her field. My children are both in Singapore right now. One is in the job, and other one is going to go an undergrad to France in Sciences Po. So that's my small family, and pretty much that's the life.
Nice, nice. All right. So, Sham, you are someone who, I was just looking at your IMDb list here. You have 17 credits. So
Right.
you're a guy who's on IMDb,
All right.
17 credits. You're working in movies, you're working in TV serials. We'll get into all of that. But before we get into, to the main act, let's spend some time on a flashback, like where it all started. You spent a lot of time in the corporate world, uh, in sales and marketing. And so how did that come about? I mean, why didn't you start acting on the day one after you graduated from engineering or something?
Well, Santosh, it's predominantly during our times when we were um, taking any kind of course to study. It is all based on the peer pressure and parents' pressure, saying either you have to become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, and it is thrust upon you whether you like it or not. So in that process, I was an engineer. I did my electrical engineering from BMS College in Bangalore. Uh, After I finished my graduation, I still had some papers to clear. I was not the A class student or something like that. I took my first job in a startup. And those days, startup was something which was never heard about, but I joined a company called Computer Garage, which was a third party AMC company, and started selling any brand AMCs across to them. And slowly from there, I started getting stints in large Indian IT companies. In one of them is where we worked together, and that was Tata Elxsi, where we worked. During
Mhm.
that process, I again took one more bold step and joined a software consultancy company called BFL Software. And I was probably one of the first to take them abroad and start a Singapore office for them. So again, that was defined. So I was a born sales guy who used to love meeting people, talk about, passionate about my product, how to sell across the services, etc. So being in Singapore for a year, couple of years across there, again a calling came to start up another startup in US, and this time again a consultancy company to take care of the Y2K business during those days. And I was in New York, New Jersey, Virginia, etc. So having moved around in this quick places, I think the final homecoming came to me because I was called back to Singapore by a US multinational to head this part of the region. And that's when I joined Network Associates, and that's when the career really took off after doing a couple of years of stint in other places. And that gave me the Asia Pacific perspective across. And a few years later, I was again fortunate enough to come back to India and head US MNC here, starting the entire operations for Brocade. So it was a fascinating journey because I quickly grew across the ranks and was on top of the executive places, going towards President's Club in most of the companies where I used to get annually selected, going to exotic places on vacation with family. So I think I've been all across in this corporate world doing everything. But that one thing which you call, right, are you really happy? Is it just number game? Is it quarter on quarter game, etc.? That is to be only with me. But then, yet again, we have to start all over from the scratch. So I think having done all the titles in India, I set my heart that I should come back one day to India and do something. What do I want to come back? So I went back to Singapore from India and stayed for a few years. And from there, I think I just decided when I touched my 50, that's it. Let's go back. So 2014 is when I came back. It's been 7 years of my journey back in India. I've been fabulously enjoying every moment of it. So that's my quick pass toward my corporate career.
Yeah. Yeah, and you came back and you've been doing some very interesting work. And I've known you, always known you as someone who's very spontaneous as a person, right? You're always cracking jokes. You always, you always pulling somebody's leg. You have a funny bone. If you're in a party, you're the guy who's like, speaking in multiple languages. So definitely someone who had a creative side of him even while you were doing the regular work. But did you also pursue any of this performance arts while you were working, I mean, even as a hobby at that time?
Uh, well, first of all, I'm a people's man, so I enjoy the company as it goes along. And having said that, it was easy for me to gel with even a very serious looking person. I could talk in different daily topics across. I probably was in dramatics from school days itself, Santosh. Okay, people have been doing that in their school life, but I was like the chosen one in the school. Like anytime I used to be pulled out of my class, made to do practice, I used to do singing, I used to do acting, and for the school's namesake. So I used to get all kinds of leeway of writing the test later. So that was initial phase. Like I've done a kawali when I was young, and I used to have loved the costume and become a kawali player. But I think the stint while in the corporate world in Singapore, I got a chance to do a cop a documentary with Channel News Asia. And the funny part there, once I can still remember it right now, and I got my first payment for one day's work as $50. I still have that in my purse. I still keep it with me as my cherished possession. But while shooting during that time, there was a boxing scene, and I'm supposed to be some soldier who's trying to get into a competitive mode. And I really got banged very hard during the shooting and really pained in my jaw.
Really?
And then when the shooting was over, it was so nice of the co-actor to actually give me a sorry card and a book as a gift and said, I'm sorry, it was all part of the shooting and I hit you very hard. But I think the pain which you gain and then the amount of love and affection you get across from all the people, you feel satisfied that you really gave a good shot. And it looks on the screen a very, that's when it said, why not I should give it a full shot. But the problem was I was working in the corporate world. I had to take permissions and I have to do it only on the weekend. So it is a full-time job. You just can't do half time here and half time there. So that's where I decided that if and when I get an opportunity back in India, I will definitely give it a shot.
Right. Absolutely. And and you did, right? And um, at what point did you decide to kind of take that plunge and you went to the acting school,
Mm.
which is a huge commitment. I think what is very the gold in all this is that people could have gone back and started another tech company, right? Very
Sure.
predictive, another consulting company, make some money, but you chose to put yourself behind something completely unfamiliar from a career choice perspective. It's a highly competitive industry, less structured. I heard, I don't know, but
Absolutely.
I guess you
Absolutely.
can tell us that
Absolutely.
less structured than the industries we are in, and you put yourself in a school. And tell us about that. What gave you the courage to do that?
Yeah. So, as you rightly said, Santosh, when I came back to India, I did dabble as a consultant, advising young entrepreneurs how to get VC funding. But somehow things did not work out. I gave it a shot for about a year or so, but
Hmm.
it was not materializing. So, probably that was one of the setbacks. And at that particular time, just crossed 50, I was newfound love called spirituality and yoga and all those
Hmm.
things was coming into us. Then I was thinking, what is this? I've been there. I've earned big monies, which I have to do. So what is that will excite me at this age to keep me awakened every day morning that tomorrow is an exciting day?
Hmm.
I think that is where I think I was looking back at my retrospect of my childhood days to my performing days, etc. And I said, hmm, I should look into it. But it is not easy, Santosh. Let me tell you, there were anxious moments
Hmm.
because there are financial implications. You earn zero while you learn initially. And having said that,
Yeah.
I had young kids who were in college those days and school. I had to take the risk factor. But I think without their support, I think one of the birthdays they sat with me as a family, said, Dad, if there is a passion which you want to live, what would it be? And I said, look, I had to do bungee jumping, I had to do skydiving. I've been there, I've done that. So I said, I thought
Hmm.
of being an actor. They said, why don't you give it a shot? But I said, look, being from the corporate world, new, I didn't want to get into a unstructured way. I said, I need to learn the craft, I need to hone the skills, and then I should be like up and ready. But while you do search for good acting schools around India, there are diamond dozen everywhere, right? And that is where
Hmm.
I think I selected this actor prepares, which is owned and run by Anupam Kher. Probably he still acts and has more than 500 films under his belt, and he also teaches in the and he's got selected
Hmm.
faculties from what we call as National School of Drama. That's the best school in India
Hmm.
where all your great actors like Manoj Bajpayee, or you talk about Irfan Khan, you talk about Anupam Kher himself, etc., have come out, Nasuddin Shah,
Hmm.
etc. So when a faculty
Hmm.
from there tries to teach you, they teach you from the third theater perspective. So I did my homework well, and then I applied. I had to give an audition, and just selected me. It was the shortest duration, but a complete year's course condensed in 3 months with what 12 hours per day, 6 days a week, with a homework day on Sunday. So I said, let's give it a shot. And but it had its own
Hmm.
implications. I had to be away from my family. I had to stay in an apartment with few boys with a mattress on the ground. There are 20 plus actors. I stayed like from a top executive. I just tried to be humble and clear. Like, look, I'm also coming to struggle with you
Hmm.
guys, right? I could have stayed in a luxurious rented apartment and Airbnb, etc. But I didn't do that. But I said, if you have to learn the craft, you have to be like them, and that's why we get to make
Yeah.
some great friendship with these youngsters and learn the craft. So that's why I chose to go to actor prepares in acting school, which you asked me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And hopefully you got back to rum and coke, back with the young guys.
Oh yes, sure. So it was like, yes, obviously I can't have the single malts, so I have to be Smirnoffs and old monks. And usually we don't have money for the quarter. Is what used to be. I used to behave with them. Yeah, yeah, quarter dodilla garo. So you pay today and I'll pay tomorrow. Types. It was fun times. And then
Yeah.
one fags, five guys sharing it, and so those are the days, like
Yeah.
good old hostel days in college. Then
Yeah, yeah. And you got to relive that again.
yeah, you're cleaning the house, messy house, bachelor's den, too much noise, neighbors complaining, society asking us to be thrown out, etc. And I was probably the elderly person, so everybody used to call me Chacha. Chacha, batao yaar, neighbor ko bata do yaar, wo bahut kalla kar raha hai. So people think that father is staying with the kids kind of a stuff. Anyway, it was fun.
That is fun. That is fun. Awesome. So, what exactly happens? What did you learn? What exactly? What did it prepare you for in these 3 months?
Okay, so before I venture into that, there's an anecdote which is coming to me. Actually, I joined this school, Actors Prepares, and the funny part was the first day in the class, and I walk in, so all the students get up, all stand. I also look them, I greet them, and I just go behind in the back of the desk and sit. Everybody thinks this is a plot or something like that. Teacher has come, he's sitting in the back, he's going to judge us, he's going to make remarks, etc. And suddenly another teacher walks in. I also get up. So then this guy asked after the class, Sir, aap or acting? Because all the kids were 16 years to 25 years. तो मैंने कहा साले तुम लोग हीरो हीरोइन बन जाओगे तुम्हारा बाप कौन बनेगा मैं ही तो बनूंगा. And that was laughter. Then they were surprised to see a person committed to work along with them. But having said that, I think the fun part is this had nothing called as a curriculum as a book kind of a thing, but it had lots of things.
Mhm.
We used to start early morning with yoga at 7 o'clock in the class, and sometimes it used to be Bollywood dancing. Sometimes it used to be martial arts, which has to be the early morning routines. Then after breakfast, we start our classes, which used to be having things like uh, voice modulation, pronunciation, diction, about how to speak the vocabulary in Hindi, Urdu, etc.
Mhm.
Next stage would be how do we do a theater kind of a presentation of our monologues, how to remember the scripts, how to think about the character, the way the character is, do some analysis about it, etc. So it was intensive theater training. And then it comes across to look into camera angle, how to face the camera,
Mhm.
what you need to do, uh, how do you best possibly do. Like right now, we are doing this interview. I took almost last 20 minutes to set up my system to make sure that I'm in the
Mhm.
three-fourths of the screen and everything is perfect. The lighting is okay, etc. So that's what you get to learn. So you're learned and honed your craft in a systematic way as an actor, where you are now ready to take on the world. So that's what the 3 months was. And then when you graduate, you have to do a drama, you have to give a project presentation, and then you're awarded. And there also, I think, when I was getting my award from Anupam Kher, and I still have the picture and everything, people were clapping and whistling before I could come to the stage. And then Anupam asked, भाई
Mhm.
इसने सब तुम लोगों को पैसे दिए हैं क्या ताली बजाने के लिए? Why are you clapping so much for this guy? So it was just like I was gelling very well with every batch. There were four batches of 25 students, 100 students per batch. But I think we had become a family. We had become great friends, and we still continue to be. But then we all had dreams in our eyes that, hey, we'll come out and we'll make it big. So that's a second story when we go about more into.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. When you were sharing that anecdote that happened in the classroom, I thought you'll tell them a dialogue. रिश्ते में तुम्हारे बाप लगते हैं नाम है शहनशाह.
No, if you remember,
Suddenly that dialogue.
if you remember the acting honing skills of how it started was, if you remember those days when we were in Bangalore in most of the parties, we used to have this Sholay movie was very famous those days, right? And we didn't have subtitles.
Mm.
And always in every drinking party, I used to do the anecdote of mimicking the Sholay dialogue in Kannada. And people used to laugh. I'll just give you a sample, right?
Yeah,
So we used to,
go
I'll
ahead.
just try it out because it's been long since I did it. So how that dialogue delivery I did and people liked it, and I said, hey, look, I should give it a try. So the dialogue is very much, कितने आदमी थे वो दो तुम तीन फिर भी खाली हाथ. So the problem in Kannada was there was no subtitle. People did not understand. So I had to give voiceover. So it started. Hmm. ಅವರೆಷ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಸರ್ದಾರ್ ಇಬ್ರು. ಹ್ಮ್ ನೀವೆಷ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಸರ್ದಾರ್ ಮೂರು. ಥು, ಸುವರ್ ನನ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳ್ರ ಕೈ ಬೀಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದ್ರು ಖಾಲಿ ಯಾಕ್ ಬಂದ್ರು ಹ? ಏನ್ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಿ? ಸರ್ದಾರ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸಾಬಾಸಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಖುಷ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಅರೋ ಸಾಂಬ, ಸರ್ಕಾರ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇನಾಮ್ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ? 50,000. ಮಕ್ಕಳ್ರ, ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಫುಲ್ ಮಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನೀವು, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ತಕ್ಕ ದಂಡನೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಹೈ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಗುಂಡುಗಳಿದೆ ಈ ಪಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಮಗನೇ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಗುಂಡು? 6 ಗುಂಡು, 3 ಜನ. ತುಂಬಾ ಅನ್ಯಾಯ, ತುಂಬಾ ಅನ್ಯಾಯ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಡಿಸ್ಕೌಂಟ್. ಇವಾಗ ನಾ ಈ ಚೇಂಬರ್ನ ತಿರುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಇವಾಗ ನನಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾವ ಚೇಂಬರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗೋಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಿಲ್ಲ. ನೋಡೋಣ ನಿನ್ಗೇನ್ ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ. ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಕಾಲಿಯ, ನಿಂದೇನಾಗತ್ತೋ? ಸರ್ದಾರ್, ನಾನೇನ್ ಉಪ್ಪು ತಿಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಮಗನೇ ಇವಾಗ ಗೋಲಿ ತಿನ್ನು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಅಂಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ old monk and everything. So anyway, that's
Awesome. You should be in Kannada movies.
oh my god. Okay, it is. I'll tell you the challenges when you start going to shoots and have scripts in your hand, because this is impromptu. This is not scripted. So whatever comes in your head, you enjoy and tell it. But when you have a scripted version of things of how you have to behave as a character, that is having its own challenges. So I'll come to that later. But this is one of the things. So coming back to
Yeah.
your
Yeah, but I'm serious. We got to see you in Kannada movies. That was so nice. It is almost like watching an authentic Kannada actor performing. So
no,
that was
I
amazing.
did that Pushpavalli was a serial OTT serial which I did as a Kannada father, but that was a very small bit role where I think I acted along with Danish's mother. Danish Seth's mother, she was my heroine, and she was a very prominent actress back in Kannada. So that's where I spoke a little bit Kannada there, but not much. I have not tried
Yeah.
seriously South.
Yeah. All right. So terrific. So you did this NSD. I mean the Anupam Kher school, and then what happened? When did you get the first
Oh,
opportunity to?
oh, that was fascinating. The last day, and then we said, okay, today we have all become official actors, and tomorrow onwards there'll be line of movies. People will be calling us, craving. Nothing like that bullshit happened. Next day onwards, nobody prepared us how to go about getting a job. It is like I was a daily wage worker, trying to go every day, giving auditions. Probably, I think we had to first find out where auditions happen. I used to not know. Today, I know most of the casting directors, everybody, but in the beginning, we don't know where to go. So in Bombay, there's a famous area called Aram Nagar, Versova. This is all near uh, behind that famous Reliance Hospital is there, and that's where all the casting people are around. So you have to go with your portfolio. You have to go along, stand there, and stand in the queue. I have to carry a bunch of costumes with me. Suppose I want to be Sethji, I have to have a kurta with me. If I want to be a corporate guy, I need to have a suit with me. So I have to carry my own bunch of costumes and be ready there. You stand in the queue, wait for hours outside. It's sweaty, it's sunny. Then they call you, and in 5 minutes, you need to deliver your dialogue and impress upon them. And every time you used to come out, I killed it. And then they'll call up, sorry, sir, you're not selected. Sorry, you're not fit. So you face rejection every day. So what this experience has made you is humbled you a lot. It is not taken things for granted. Nothing is easy in this field. So maybe I've done about 100 auditions or not, then I'll get the first breakthrough. But you have to be consistently available. In fact, my students ratio in terms of number of people from the 100 batch who are still in this field when we cleared is hardly about 3 or 4, which means there's 90% dropout. People join in excitement to become rich and famous overnight, but nobody wants to put the hard work. And that's where people fizzle out. And then we call all this nepotism and other things. But I think forget about that side. We should not even walk there. You should be passionate about your craft. So when I got my first break, it was interesting again. I was told that I was selected to do an ad for Vistara Airlines, and you'll be doing it opposite Deepika Padukone. I said, wow, what a break. But honestly, you won't believe it was 41 degrees, 42 degrees centigrade, summer heat. We were called to Delhi airport. I thought air conditioned lounges and we'll be standing there. The aircraft will be there. We'll walk in, we'll sit and we'll do the ad. It'll be just like a fun. Our aircraft was parked in Terminal 2, Hajj Terminal, very far away. No AC, nothing. We were standing on the sun below in the shade, sweating it out, wearing our costumes, which is given. We had to wait hours together before the heroine used to come. Then we used to be asked to get into the aircraft and we'll sit there, we're sweating, we have to blow ourselves dry. And then the ad shoot took 2 days to shoot. I was just sitting behind her in the aircraft. So we thought we'll get a lot of screen space, but I just got a glimpse of mine because every time she used to turn around, I was visible in the camera. I think that visibility, there's no dialogue, nothing, there's just a screen presence, gave me my second break, which is where I was selected to work in Hindi medium opposite Irfan Khan and uh, the Pakistani actress. Uh, the role was very simple. They said 7 guys will be chosen as principal for different roles, and 1 or 2 might only be visible in the screen. That they didn't tell in the initial thing. So no dialogues. You have to sit just like we are sitting opposite each other right now, and it is only expression based. So whosoever expression was best fit would be chosen. So it's like he's rambling his dialogue that bachon ko chocolate nahi dete, lalach nahi. This is something like he was trying to tell that I will not give my kid candy and other things. And I'm supposed to think, is he come for admission? What the F kind of a look? And that got captured and it came. But working with these kind of guys, like one has to understand you should not get frozen feet. You should be as natural as possible. And I think thanks to the corporate training, we have met many big guys in our life and in various kinds of IT structure or customers who are top shots. And when you have not been scared meeting them, I don't think so. It makes sense. But many people freeze when they see their favorite artist. I think, in fact, for me, the biggest achievement was how soon can you ever be able to share a screen space with Amitabh Bachchan? And I already got it. But when you go there, I'm telling you, that guy is most humorous guy on the set. He is always making, because we were shooting for this movie called Brahmastra, which is Ayan Mukherjee's, which has still not come. 2 years back I've shot.
You're in it?
I don't know. It depends upon the editor whether he'll keep it. Yes, I was there. I shot for 5 days continuously. It was Ranbir Kapoor and Alia Bhatt and Amitabh and Dimple Kabadia. So it was a great experience.
It's Karan Johar's movie.
Yes, it's Karan Johar's movie, but directed by Ayan Mukherjee. And it's still pending to come out. Post lockdown, let's see where it is happening. But there again, it's very difficult and challenging to go over. Everybody had a dream. Arey, Amitabh ke saath mera hona chahiye ek photo and everything. So it took me almost 2 days to convince his special security that I wanted a snap. I'm a childhood fan of him. I need it. And he will never take a picture with you with his costume. That's his rule. So once he finishes at the end of the day, he goes to his vanity van, he changes and he comes down to his vanity van. That's where he gives few pictures per day. And one other day I was chosen and I was like, that night I could not sleep. It was like fabulous. Like, the man I was with. So anyway, so that is how I think the early things started. Then I've done many serials, many things, but again, nothing goes in your head. I think the success doesn't hit you because the amount of failures you're facing every day, in spite of doing all this thing, you still face failures. And due to pandemic last 1.5 years, everything is shut because I could not take the risk of what I want to do. I would share one experience was the best was when I felt I was a king was when I got a Gillette ad last year when I was given my own vanity van. I was the lead hero of this particular ad as a father. And it's come in Tamil as an ad. But it was a conceptually beautiful shot, but I had to do 20 hours of stretch shoot in one time. With lots of dancing in it. Body is tired, mentally you're drained out. But end result, when you see the ad, you'll see it on YouTube, anywhere you check it. It was great fun. But that was the high of my life. But right now, I did take a risk. In fact, this year, it started up beautifully. Even though in Jan 2021 I came back from US when I was there, and I came back here. I did one ad, and then I got a movie which I had to shoot, and they started the movie in April. The second wave was just starting in India, but we took that risk. We thought we'll quickly wind up and finish it up. 5 nights of continuous shooting. Next day, one guy was COVID, shut down the unit. One became four, four became eight, eight became 10. Luckily, I survived. I had once vaccine done, and I was always masked up, taking all precaution, only removing during the shot. But somehow our producer did not make it. He passed away recently. So the whole thing is stopped.
Ouch.
So it is not worth taking the risk, Santosh. I know this is many people,
Yep.
the lives depend on daily acting because they have to get the money back home to run their home. Luckily
Yeah.
for me, it's not the thing. It is more about a passion which I want to drive myself into and be enjoying with the process. I think you should
Yeah.
wait and watch because many great actor friends I've known in the recent past have been no more in this industry because of this. Because
Yeah.
they went, and this industry
Yeah.
has the least amount of possible protection because you can't just act with a mask on. You have to remove it. And then you have
Yeah.
people floating around.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense, and there's also a lot of gold in what you just shared. And that is one is, for someone like you to have seen success, you made it in life, and then you kind of, we keep talking about conceptually, a lot of people talking about beginners mindset, which is in any kind of coaching you
Yep.
talk about, any kind of high performance books you talk about, everybody talks about beginners mindset.
Okay.
And there's also the ability to put aside one's ego and come from a different place, which is, you also talked about the fact that you are a little spiritual, but in spirituality, in practice, in some way, is having the ability to put aside your ego and come from a place of nothing, maybe, and just almost like being committed to that passion single mindedly. So there's so much gold in what you shared, because while from outside you might say this is a lot of struggle, why you want to do it, uh, but I can almost hear that you seem to have evolved as a person in the process.
I think more important was the first and foremost thing in spirituality is the arrogance goes out of the window, which used to be there in the early stages of your IT career. At least I had. I don't know about others. But when you start climbing the ladder of success, you have that arrogance. I have done that. What you guys have done? Nothing. So I think that's the problem. So the biggest thing is the day the passion is that, like, I used to tell in the corporate world, the day you pull out your ass out of the bed to go to the work, you should quit. You should not be dragging yourself out for work. But if you can jump from the bed and say, yet another day to conquer, that's passion again. So I think
Yeah.
this industry needs passion, hard work, and super discipline. If you don't have this, and in fact, there's a simple anecdote. If you have seen the famous movie called Three Idiots, right? And we have Phungsuk Wangadu, one acting by Amir Khan. His passion was engineering. His passion was studies. So he imposted himself to somebody else and did engineering. Then he went back, did inventions, then patents, etc. So I'm saying is, if you do not have that built to do in
Yeah.
this particular field, you will fail miserably because many of the people, why they dropped out, because they were expecting success to come and kiss them without doing the hard work.
Yeah.
They expected that I walk in and people should be giving me. There are still many youngsters who come to this. In Bombay, if you go, every day, 50,000 to 1 lakh aspirants come to become actor. How much success they will get, I don't know. But many of the people turn up doing something else. So that's why you see great street performers, but never get them a chance in the movie because they don't go in a systematic way. Because the barrier to entry to this field is zero, Santosh. So it's the most unstructured. Anybody can become an actor if they want, they think. But if you do not put a discipline in terms of how you want to go about hone your acting, some people are natural actors. It comes to them automatically, right? They can remember dialogues of 20 pages at one stretch, not only his dialogue, but opposite guy's dialogue, and be able to give perfect expressions. Like when the camera is on, they are the greatest guys to watch. When camera is off, they're not the great guys to watch. So they live the character.
Mm.
So one has to look into that. And so, yes, I would suggest if anybody wants to become an actor, it is yes. Answer is yes if they want to do it. But it's
Mm.
99% hard work, 1% luck. Remember that. But if you reverse this and
Mm.
say
Mm.
99% luck, 1% hard work, you're set up for failure.
Yeah, yeah. And you also mentioned earlier on the difference between spontaneously performing versus performing to a particular script or act
Mhm.
when it's given to you. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so first of all, whenever any movie or any serial, anything is shot across, I think they have a conceptual story. So you need to actually be a team player, first of all,
Mm.
to understand why this is being created.
Mm.
If you only talk about, I'm the hero, I'm the actor, I should do whatever it is, and I should add my own few things, try to respect the story writer who's written the story in a way and a style, the
Mhm.
screenplay, which is how the scenes are going to be shot, right? And that's where the screen scripts are given
Mm.
to you. Understand why it has been given to you that way. Because that is what director, the cameraman, and the story writer have visualized to present. And if you try to add your own
Mhm.
thing and say, I will try to do this way, I will try to, like, for example, I was watching a movie recently and there's a word called invincible Germans was to be told. And then
Mhm.
the actor says, adds unbeatable. So the director gets angry and says, look, unbeatable is opposite of beatable. Invincible is invincible. So why did you miss that line, invincible?
Mhm.
I had thought 100 times before
Mhm.
putting the word. So that's more important. So if you do not follow
Mhm.
the script, many of the times you say great script, great acting because it was flawless. You could not find any mistakes in it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So that is where people say a story is woven well, a best direction movie, best storytelling, best acting comes across only when all the departments work cohesively.
Mhm.
And that's where we as an actors, who are a culmination of all these things in front of the camera, have to perform. Moment we deviate and try to add
Mhm.
our own 2 cents, which may trigger back or which might not be conducive to the way the whole thing has been shot, it's not advisable. Unless you are a Dilip Kumar who has been there, done that in the
Mhm.
movies, and you know exactly what to do, and the director has, I was not even thinking this way. Great line. That's a
Mhm.
different aspect. Like you got Shivaji Ganeshan, Dilip Kumar, or even Amitabh.
Mhm.
All these people are very spontaneous. They remember their lines very well. Once read, that's it.
Mhm. Got it. Got it. And you also have kind of been both in movies as well as TV series, which is very different kind of content. Consumers are different, audience is different. What do you see difference for you as from your perspective as an actor? Is it very different?
Well, couple of things. I think first of all, one step back is when you are trying to do an acting, whether it's for TV, whether it is for films, or whether it's for ads or anything like that, you are basically driven by that particular environment, what's to be done. For example, in a TV, what happens is, I'll just give an anecdote. I'm not a TV buff, but if you see many of the Hindi serials, it's very loud. If you give it a short thought process behind it, whereas the movie, see, in movie, subtleness comes across. Dialogues are not crass. For example, in Hindi, it will say, क्या ये 609 कमरा है? हाँ, ये 609. Bloody, in the screen, you can see that's written 609, right? And why do you have to shout and tell that it's 609? Then my teacher told me one has to do these kind of a cliche kind of an acting and TV serials is primarily because not many people, the biggest audience in TVs are women folks at home who are watching these serials during the daytime or evening time. They're not in front of the TV all the time. They're doing other
Mm,
household
mm,
work, cutting vegetables, doing something. And they keep the TV loud. So when their favorite actor or actress
mm,
speaks the line, they drop everything and come and watch that for 5 minutes. His scene. and then again go back and keep on listening like a radio comment. That's why it becomes a cliche in serial. So that those days are also getting over now. Whereas in movie, many of the times
Mhm.
what subtleness comes across. You miss a millisecond,
Mhm.
you don't know why the person what he was doing because everything is
Mhm.
expressions coming in there. I think the new
Yeah.
platforms, which is what we call the OTT platform, whether it's Amazon's or Netflix or
Mhm.
Sony or Z, everything, they're coming with some fabulous series. I think what is happening between movie and these 4 hours to 6 hours OTT platforms is they're a long story is condensed into 2 hours and presented to you, but it is mostly with an antagonist and protagonist as a key guy. Whereas here, it's mini series of episodes, season one, season two, season three. So like Money Heist, I'm just giving an example. Every
Mhm.
character has been individually treated well. So people say, do you want to be a
Mhm.
professor? Do you want to be this? Do you want to be that? So we start identifying ourselves. So that's why the season one happens, season two happens. People like it more. It's shot differently. And that's a new way.
Mhm.
And that's why it, one has to be adaptive to all these changes happening to yourself. So that's where we call
Mhm.
learning never ends. But if you say, no, I'm only
Mhm.
specific theater actor, I only do one style, your days are numbered because things
Mhm.
change so dynamically fast. Audience like you and me want something different. Today we are looking for content based story rather than dialogue based story, right?
Mhm.
And that subtleness is very important to understand. And that's where great actors are emerging, new names are coming up. Everybody has got an
Yeah.
opportunity, but one has to really be there on the right time to do it.
Mhm. So is it harder? Is it more difficult in that format because there's a lot more expected out of an actor?
I would look at the other side. The horizon has expanded. Now you choose what you want to be. But today the thing is there's
Mhm.
so much enormity of choice. But competition is going to be there in every age, Santosh. 50 plus also.
Mhm.
There are dime and dozen and many famous guys in our like when we start, I have done only what we call in our language featured artist or secondary artist character roles. I've not yet come to
Mhm.
the main character roles. So typically, if you say any movie, there'll be
Mhm.
a hero, heroine, and there'll be a villain, right? These are main three characters. And around them, the secondary characters like uncle, aunt, mother, father, etc.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then comes secondary character, could be police inspector, could be a judge, could be a something.
Mhm.
And then comes featured artist who might be in one scene, key scene, like the murder will start with him and the story revolves around that. I'm just giving an example. So
Mhm.
one has
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
choose. So today, when I'm trying to see, I've done the initial featured roles, initial secondary roles in the last few years, and I've got the gist of it. Now I want to try something different.
Mhm.
So I might have to wait longer. So some people keep
Mhm.
on doing this only lifelong and never rise above the function
Mhm.
because you're easily available to do that character. Once you
Mhm.
stop doing that and then focus on, hey, I need to sell myself more with the casting directors, with the production houses and
Mhm.
tell them, look, I can do better this one. You never know. Then suddenly you'll get a character which
Yeah.
becomes predominantly famous and then you're cast as Dr. Zhivago or whatever you want to say. And then you continue with it.
Yeah. 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 No, that makes sense. And it's kind of, not exactly same, but even in the corporate world, one has to do that, right? You have a particular
Yep,
role and you get stuck in the role, but if you're ambitious, you have to go pitch and say, hey, I can do something else. And that's how you end up
exactly.
taking bigger roles. And I'm just drawing a parallel,
You have
and
to.
I,
In
I
fact,
think.
that helps, Santosh. Most of us in the corporate life have been honing our skills, being disciplined and working really hard
Mm,
in not only shining our organization, but shining our team, being a team member, being a leader. It's not easy to become a leader,
yeah.
but I've seen great leaders in IT world who have been fabulous people's person. But at the same time, they had a meticulous way of achieving what it is and they should translate it down to your team. And that's what is required here. Individually, you are nothing. When you try to collectively do, probably you can do. But I think, come what may, one has to learn to be very, very humble in this industry. A slight sense of arrogancy because everybody in the set is watching you, Santosh. Right from the tea boy to the
Mm,
light man to the makeup artist, how you exactly come, how do you gel with them, how do you
mhm,
respect an individual? Because you will see the kind of pain these called ADs, associate directors, who run around taking the script. Sir, next scene is yours. Please be ready. Have you done your costume? They're all running on hyper mode and tension. And in that, if you say, hey, I don't get my tea, the AC is not working in my vanity, you start doing all this frivolous thing. People don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Things will not be perfect,
And
but you have to work in that environment.
no, that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing is money, right? Now you said there are people who might just be doing feature characters their entire life. Can you make a living out of that? Because or does how does that work?
Okay,
I mean, because one thing I've always wondered when I see a movie, there are so many people.
I
There
can share
are
my experience. I don't know about the reality. So let's understand the Maslow's theory here. Okay? When you see a movie shot, there's a crowd in the back, right? A crowd standing
Hmm,
required or a crowd being there. These are called as daily artists. They are non-contractual.
hmm,
Uh, they probably get between 500 to 800 rupees a day. Okay.
hmm.
I'm just giving, that's what I heard, but they could have increased, but
Yeah.
that's what you get, right? But that is called junior artist supplier. He supplies crowd for a scene. He'll supply people in a party scene, etc., right? But there are a couple of the crowd is that one. Those will be guaranteed 20, 25 days of work every day. Some one day in this studio, one day in that studio. They'll keep on changing themselves, but they'll get teen waqt ka khana because for them, getting breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the set takes care of their food. Plus, they get 500, 800 rupees.
Hmm,
So they stay in a small
hmm.
chawl or a kholi in Bombay where 10 guys stay together and pay monthly rent of 2000 rupees. So if they earn what 500, 800 rupees a day, they can survive in that. But then the problem is they always believe that I do that and one day I'll become a hero. They have aspiration that way.
Hmm.
Then the next guys are basically what we called as uh, A-class models or ones who are sophisticated in a dance party or in a party like that, just holding a glass of wine,
Hmm.
right? They are paid a little bit higher, and then they are
Hmm.
there. But that is not acting; that is just fillers. Then when you come across the next level is a featured artist where you're trying to become a doctor or a judge or something like characters,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Or a hero's friend or something like to where you become secondary character where you have few more scenes, not one, till you become a
Hmm.
character artist. It is very, very difficult because people are paid anywhere between as low as 4 5,000 rupees to as high as 25 30,000 rupees a day,
Hmm.
which is kind of a thing if looking for money perspective. For them, 2 or 3 jobs like this is good enough for running their monthly thing. But then
Yep.
getting that 2 or 3 in a month also is a challenge because there's so many people available,
Hmm.
right? I would say
Hmm.
last
Hmm.
1% is where people actually really make money because when you are, I think initially as an actor, you should not be chasing money. You should be working for your skills to be recognized. I still remember my
Yeah.
biggest challenge as an actor was in a movie recently shot with Madhavan for a movie called Rocketry. It was three
Yeah.
languages simultaneously shot. It has to be done in Hindi, English, and Tamil. I know all the three languages perfect. But the screw up
Hmm.
was when your dialogue delivery happens, suddenly the director in the back, Madhavan says, line 2 in Tamil, line 4 in English, line 6 in Hindi. Now, to automatically tune your brain so fast to shift is not easy. You have to practice. I practiced all the dialogues. I
Hmm.
was under the expectation that the dialogues will be shot one set of Hindi, then stop, then again another set. He said, I don't require. I've done a master of that already. When I come to a close shot of yours, I want only line 2 in Hindi. I want line 4 in English. I want this. So now how do you remember which is line 4, which is line 3? You have to run through the entire dialogue very quickly in your mind. And you should be spontaneous.
Hmm.
That is a great learning which I learned from. And he's a great director and a great
Hmm.
actor himself. But these are nuances you can only learn by paid acting. Somebody's paying you to learn. This is not taught in
Hmm.
a acting school to you. So I would say that
Yep.
one has to be open minded to learn every day. And in fact, during the pandemic also, I did something like I was doing voluntary work. Why did I do that? It is not spirituality or something. It is more about getting to know people. I'm a people's person. In an actor, one has to observe
Mm-hmm.
people. So when I used to last year go and give
Mm-hmm.
rations outside, I used to carry 5 kgs atta, chawal, everything, and go across to every nook and corner where their daily labor is stuck because of curfew and pandemic and lockdown, etc. And they really need
Right.
food. Just seeing the sheer joy and smile of them getting some food that they can survive for 1 week with
Mm-hmm.
their family was a great attainment itself. This year, in the second
Mm-hmm.
wave, I did voluntary work as a telecall service guy, call center guy. I used to call every day morning at this time patients who used to be calling up for help. I don't know how to treat myself. Is this a symptom of COVID? Should I consult a doctor? I used to get a doctor on the line. Then we used to arrange for medicines, get it delivered to. So all these activities can also help you in your acting skills because how the person
Yeah.
speaks, what lingo he speaks, what is his thought process. If you have nuances of observing those things very clearly, it will help you as an actor to grow
Mm-hmm.
because somewhere you can use
Mm-hmm.
any of these experiences which you put
Yeah.
together.
Fascinating. Fascinating, Shyam. Uh, it's exciting. I mean, just hearing you, and it's just um, the process is exciting. The journey is exciting. Sometimes, but like there's a common somebody wise has said, it's the journey that matters. Sometimes not the
Absolutely,
destination.
you're right.
And I'm sure, right?
You're right. You're right.
Hearing you, definitely the journey is very exciting.
Mhm.
As long as, like you said, as long as you stay focused, humble, focused on the craft, developing it, getting better, and yeah, we definitely hope that you continue to be successful as well,
Right.
and see you. And I did, surprisingly, I didn't know I'm a big fan of Pushpawali. I love that show,
Okay.
and I think I haven't laughed
Sumukhi.
like that in a
Sumukhi
long
Suresh
time.
is a great person. I'm telling
And
you, she's a fabulous, fabulous,
yeah,
spontaneous actor.
yeah, and then I said you suddenly popped up, and I'm like, wow, I know this guy. I didn't know you were there in it, so it was a pleasant surprise.
So it was chosen to be the
And you
hero's
also
father.
got,
Hero's father's role in 2 episodes. I had to do it. Pushpavali 1 and 2. So
yeah,
I don't know about
yeah,
the 3 part when it comes.
yeah, yeah. And you've gotten to work with some big names like Sanjay Dutt too.
Oh yeah.
Bhumi, right?
No, so I've worked with Irfan Khan in Hindi medium. I worked with Saif Ali Khan in Kala Gandhi and Bazaar. Sanjay Dutt in Bhumi. Sanjay
Mm,
Dutt was fabulous person. Again, along with him was the beautiful Aditi Rao Hydari as an actress. Then, yep,
mm,
Amitabh, Ranbir, Alia in the movies. In South, I worked with Nazar, Arjun, and Vijay Anthony. It was psycho thriller, which was pretty much famous. It's few serials.
mm.
So journey continues. So I think from my standpoint of view, I think in a short journey of few years, I've achieved consistently a lot of things,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
still wanting to do more. I'm still waiting for that big break, which one says. And all was set in
yeah.
2020 to really harness this, but God had other plans and we
Mm,
have to slow down. So I've always tell a joke
yeah.
to other people, यार मैं अपना फिल्म फेयर अवार्ड ना 2025 कर लूंगा अभी I leave it to you guys. Something like
It's a good mindset. It's a good mindthat. All right, no, that's so that's amazing. So what next? I mean,
that.
um,
Okay. No, so
where are you
so
head?
basically, I'll still dream on. My entire aim of getting into this acting was like I wanted to do a character which I could immortalize. What I mean by I'll just tell in a very quick
Mm,
way. We all in our young days have known Sholay. Gabbar Singh means Amjad Khan. We always say if Amjad Khan was not there, Gabbar Singh character would have been useless. Nobody can do like him.
yeah.
So something like I want to immortalize a character. Everybody says अगर ये करता तो सिर्फ श्याम करता वरना कोई नहीं करता. I have to reach that now. When, how, where, I don't know. I'm still keep on pursuing. So I'm enjoying this process. I would love to continue doing it. I have to really give it more, more than 100% now because I had family commitments earlier. Now my kids are all, one is settled, one is studying undergrad. Everybody is taken care of. So I can possibly go and plonk myself in Bombay for longer once this pandemic is done
Mhm.
and give it a shot. See next couple of years how it happens. With God's grace and
Yep.
all you audience there saying, "Hey, cheer for this guy." Okay, man, I'll be there.
Um, Coming to the last part of our conversation, I have a fun Q&A round,
Oh my God,
and
Q&A.
this
Okay, shoot,
and
shoot.
it's a fun. I used to call it rapid fire round based on what Karan Johar used to do, but I realized in my show nobody's rapid, so we'll keep it fun Q&A.
Depends upon how my brain cells fire for this queries. It could be witty, it could be boring. Let's see.
Yeah, so these are not rapid fire anymore. So let's get into that. You ready for that?
All right, Santosh, bring it on.
Okay. So, are you a teetotaler now? Or are you
No, I do. I do enjoy my drink. I have
okay?
my smoke once in a while. Absolutely fabulous.
Terrific. So, my first question is, what's your favorite spirit of choice?
It's the Glen series, Glen Levitt, Glen Morange, Glen Fiddich.
Single malt
Yep.
guy. You're the single malt guy. Did you go to Scotland at all
No,
when
that
when
is
you were
one of
abroad?
the bucket list thing where I have to go for a trail through all the distilleries and try to buy my own named bottle somewhere.
All right. Okay. Let's do that. What's your favorite junk food?
Junk food, vada pav in Mumbai. It's a fabulous fast food which when you feel hungry, standing outside
Yes.
in queues for
Yes.
doing your
Yes.
audition and
Yes.
you feel hungry, vada pav is the best. Or bhajia
Yes.
pav we call
Yes.
it.
I love it too. Yeah, I love it too. I love it too. Yes, that's a nice one. All right. What's the least favorite thing of being in the film industry?
Ah, that's a tough one because I think the least favorite that's but I'm so passionate about the industry, I can't find negativity in this, unfortunately. So the least favorite is probably when I see artists trying to throw tantrum and trying to stall the entire shoot part. Of that pisses me off at times because there are many people who come with high-headedness and try to gain attention on for all the wrong reason. I think that is what I don't like. But otherwise, I just love this industry.
Yep. Good answer there. What's the best advice you've gotten about working in the show business?
I think the best advice is be yourself naturally the way you are. Don't try to emulate or mimic somebody who's not you. That's what I was told. And then probably naturally you'll be a great actor. Like what are you internally is what you should be externally. But if you try to decipher these two things, then you are a hidden guy who's not going to be believed by people. If you see, here again, the answer in a very simple thing is whenever you watch a movie, if you are not able to see the eyeball of the actor or actress, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
interest goes away. For example, while I'm talking to you like this, suppose I start answering you like this. Ah, it's okay, sir.
Mm-hmm.
The audience there sitting, so what aloofness, what
Mm-hmm.
high-headedness this guy has got. But if I'm looking into your eyes and talking to you, many times, even if I don't speak, it conveys the message. So I think that's the best advice I've got is be yourself, be straight, and be honest with what you do.
So, do you have like a mentor in the industry? Is there somebody who's you trust who's giving you good advice, or you're on your own?
You are absolutely on your own. It depends upon the company which you keep because the reason I said there's a huge dropout of people is people try to see various kinds of shortcuts. Some people want to only go in the night parties in all the bars thinking that they'll get to meet producers and they will pick them up or something and end up sleeping the whole day, zonked out, not going for audition. When we were young artists, people used to go in the night dressed up in the best attire, spending and splurging their pop's money in all the big expensive bars, thinking 2 o'clock this actor will come, that producer will come, we'll try to meet and say hello to him and he will select us. It does not happen. You have to go and keep on doing this as an audition unless you do that hard work. Nobody cares for you. So,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, the last question, which is something that I ask all my guests, which is one of my favorite questions, is if a movie were made about you, A, what genre would you put it in? And B, who would you like to play you?
I would love to do a comedy, honestly speaking. I love doing comedy and making the people laugh. Uh, my inspiration there is typical age-old Kamal Hassan's movies, whether he did Abhay Shanmugi or whether he did John Jani Janardhan or all those great comic movies he used to do with the innocence in his face and get people used to laugh. I would love to do that. But let's see when. Because as of now, I've not done serious
And
comedy.
who should play you? Who would you like to play you in this movie?
I want to play myself in my movies. Obviously,
Okay.
as I grow across, I would like to be seeing myself. I think if you are not falling in love with yourself, you're not an actor. Every day morning, you should stand in
Hmm,
front of the mirror and love yourself. If you can't love your own face, your own thing, you will always be in doubt. So first, every day morning, get up, Santosh, love yourself and do your jogging. Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. Hey, that was a fascinating conversation.
Thank you.
We're kind of coming to the end of our yeah,
No,
absolutely.
no, no.
Welcome.
Pleasure was mine,
We're coming to
Santosh. I've
end of
never done an interview, honestly, and this is more of a casual chat with you than an interview. अभी हम वहां नहीं
yeah.
पहुंचे संतोष जिस दिन पहुंच जाएंगे हम तुम्हें जरूर कांटेक्ट करेंगे
Absolutely. So we're kind of wrapping up here. I'd like to give you the last word. Anything you want to convey to the viewers before we wrap up?
so Santosh, great work diaries stuff you started. In fact, I was watching wonderful guest lists you have. I think these are all your personal friends who have reached their pinnacle in their life, and I think there's a lot of learning. And my thing would be that if any one of you watching, whether it is, I've seen in one of your early thing, one person became from an architect and an artist. What a fabulous journey, right? So I'm saying there are many, many hidden gems in our own family and friends who
Yeah.
can be great artists if they really want to give it a shot. So I'm saying it's not difficult. It's very, very
Mhm.
honest, straightforward. If you want to work hard, you have the passion to act, try it out. Being in US, you can try LA because in today's Netflix and Amazon Primes, there are a lot of Indian content being created there. Uh,
Mm,
there's something like Tripping with Kandaswamy is a new Netflix stuff, something going on.
mm,
There are
mm.
actors required in US who are Indian origin. You can give it a shot. Maybe you'll be much more big famous guys and you'll get picked up to work in India. But I think one should try. If given a lifetime's
Yeah.
opportunity, one should try to be an actor sometimes during this. There's no age limit. There's no barrier to entry. So welcome. Let's have party.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thanks, Shyam. I'll let you go and have you enjoy the rest of the day as nighttime here
All
and
right.
daytime over there. And thank you so much. We stay
Thanks a
in
lot for
touch.
your time, Santosh, and you have a wonderful good night to you, brother.
Thank you.